Hi everyone, welcome back to the Geterbrewed channel. So today we're in our brewery. Andres is joining us again from AB, and we're going to continue our series on AB brewing products. So today we're going to specifically look at yeast nutrition, process aids, and just the other products that's offered other than yeast from AB Brewing Group. Do you want to start with yeast nutrition, Andres, and tell us what AB offer in relation to that?
Absolutely. So we offer different type of nutrients. For the brewers, they normally use nutrients for propagation of yeast, to promote the growth of yeast during the beginning of the fermentation. And for that particular purpose, we offer a product called Thermoplus Integrator, which is a very complex nutrient, which will provide you, all this the nitrogen, free amino nitrogen that the yeast requires, in the case that the malt cannot supply that. Vitamins like a B1, and essential minerals as well. And also, AB offers nutrients for a different purpose, and as a flavor boosters, which is a different approach that the brewers they don't know, and is known for the winemakers, And basically, there are nutrients like Thermoplus fragrance and Thermoplus fruity, which the composition of these nutrients are based on, they're enriched with a specific amino acids, which are precursors for flavor active compounds, such like thiols and higher alcohols and esters. So basically, the purpose of this nutrient is just, you add this nutrient in a later stage of fermentation, like a 2/3, So when you're doing the so-called spunding, and that the nutrients will help to enhance the specific flavor, the aromas, for instance, the fragrance is going to express more floral notes, while the fruity is going to express more, obviously fruity and flavors in the beer, and which I think is a very unique, approach.
First yeast nutrition product you've mentioned, is it added at the start of primary fermentation, and then the fragrance and the fruity is added near the end of fermentation?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Ideally is to add the nutrient, the Thermoplus Integrator, for propagation in the cold wort. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier, it has some essential vitamins for the yeast, and some brewers, what they do, they add the nutrients in the hot side, which means just before the boil ends or at the whirlpool vessel, and because they are afraid for potential contamination, but it's just a misconception, I would say. And the problem is, if you add the nutrients at that point of the process, the thing is that vitamins, the inactivation temperature of the vitamins is around 70 degrees Celsius. So obviously, when you add the nutrients during the boiling or during the whirlpool, which is normally about 85 degrees, you basically inactivate the vitamins, so they are not more available for the yeast. So ideally, it will be in the cold wort, and so the idea is you use the integrator for at the beginning of the fermentation, and for the other nutrients, Thermoplus fragrance and fruity, for a later stage of the fermentation.
From a practical point of view, if you're in the brewery and you open one of these packets, whether it be a 1 kilo packet or a 5 kilo packet, how would you suggest that is managed once it's been opened?
Yeah, that's a very good question. You should deal the nutrients like as you deal with your dry active yeast. So both they are biotechnological products, and in the case of the nutrients, obviously it's like the best food you can give to microorganisms. So they are very sensitive to contamination. So ideally is that you use the entire package. In the case that you don't need to use the entire package, you must make sure to store it in the total antiseptic conditions. and to keep it in the fridge, you know. So as the same as you do with your dry active yeast.
Is it sufficient to? I've seen brewers do this where if they open the packet, they sort of roll it up, put a peg or a bit of tape or a tie or something on it, and then put it inside like a plastic box and put it in the fridge. Is that sufficient, or do they need to be going to the stage of CO2 flushing, heat sealing? And then
no, that's not necessary. I think the way as you normally you see, the important thing is that you know, they should apply, you know, for instance, like ethanol, you know, as a disinfectant, just to make sure, you know, that and they ideally they use, you know, gloves, you know, and so in order to avoid
eliminate as many risks.
Exactly, as they call, you know, to handle the nutrients and the yeast with good practices.
Yeah. Look, we covered yeast nutrition. There's a wide range of enzymes and process aids that AB have. Do you want to select a few and tell us a bit about them?
Yes, absolutely. Well, AB has a really wide spectrum of processing aids, but I would just want to mention some, like which I consider, like, you know, the most important ones, you know, like the most useful ones for brewers, for big breweries or for craft brewers of all sizes. Let's start from the brewhouse. So first of all, enzymes. AB provides different type of enzymes, from you know, alpha amylases, hemicellulases, you know, like beta glucanases, proteases. So you can get them, you know, as a individual product, or you can have also, you know, a cocktail of enzymes, as you know, we can call it that way. So, for instance, there is one product called Brewmix Plus, which contains alpha amylases, beta glucanases, and proteases, and that product really helps you to have a consistent, you know, production. Production. It will help you to increase the brewhouse yield, you know, and it will help you also for the filterability of your mash because of the beta glucanases. And this is something that brewers should consider now, because, you know, the quality of the malt, you know, can, you know, vary it, you know.
Thankfully, here we are in a unique position in that we've really high quality malt. Like our distribution partners are Crisp UK malt and Dingemans Belgian malt, and thankfully we highly modified malt with very good extract and consistently high spec. It would be more, enzymes wouldn't be a big push for Irish and UK brewers, but it is possible to use these for heavy adjunct use brews.
That's right, This is a good point. So exactly. So actually the use of enzymes, you know, has been you know, they started using it for when they're using adjuncts, you know. And you know, large breweries or macro breweries, they've been using this for many decades. But it doesn't mean that that the use of adjuncts has a connotation of, you know, of lower quality beer. That's wrong. Actually, I suggest, you know, that the brewers, no matter the size of the breweries, they can, you know, deal with adjuncts, you know, and not just for the sake of saving cost, but also to explore new flavors and to create new beer styles, you know. And so not have limitations about it, you know. So to widen, you know, the spectrum of beer styles. And using adjuncts, you know, when we're talking about from rice, maize, corn, even oat, you know, spelt, buckwheat, you know, you name it.
That's yeast nutrition, enzymes. What else have you in the portfolio?
AB also has clarifiers, you know, and for in the brewhouse operations, and in the cold side, and then in the hot side and the cold side. And for instance, there is one very popular product. It's called Spindazole. There are two types of products, SB1 and SB3. The SB1 is for brewhouse operations, and the SB3 is more for the fermentation cellar. Basically, the difference between these two is that the one for the brewhouse has a higher molecule. It's basically a silica salt-based product, so it has a higher molecule size, so it can react, you know, more effectively from proteins or macropeptides, you know, in wort. While the SB3 is going to have smaller molecule size, which will react more with just oligopeptides, and smaller size nitrogen compounds.
In layman's terms, because we have a lot of home brewers that would watch this channel as well as professional brewers, so the spindisol, what is that clarifier achieving?
Okay, that's a absolutely good question.
Yeah.
Well, silica based clarifiers, they basically act as, let's put it in a rough words, it's like a fake polyphenol. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's going to react with proteins.
Yeah.
And that will help you just to clarify your wort or your beer. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's when it comes to silicas.
Yeah.
But there's another type of clarifiers which are PVPP based.
That's a polymer based.
Exactly, a clarifier. And that one, let's say it is sort of like a fake protein, which is going to react with polyphenols. Exactly the opposite.
To get the proteins to drop out.
Yes, the polyphenols.
Oh, sorry,
the polyphenols. Just so basically you are dealing with how to improve the colloidal stability of your beer based on the interaction between polyphenols and proteins with the use of these clarifiers. And for instance, AB has one product called Polygel BH, which is basically a combination of, it's a mix of both, a silica base and PVPP together. And that one can be added after the mash out, so you can start, helping, the filterability of your mash and the clarification just right after the mashing. Or if the brewer can add it as well in the wort kettle or in the whirlpool tank. Yes.
For brewers that aren't aware of, and maybe haven't used PVPP before, that's too many P's in one sentence. It is a polymer, so polymer is basically, it's a plastic, but it can be used in hot side production without the need to centrifuge or filter, but if it's used in cold side, you do want to be
absolutely, exactly. As you mentioned, because it's a polymer, so you need to make sure that it's not present in the final product.
Packaged beer.
The packaged beer. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and besides of clarifiers, well, we have antioxidants. But
antioxidants are not something that's, in our experience with our customers, are used heavily, but I'm sure they're used widely within your group. What is an antioxidant?
Antioxidant? Basically, it's a compound that avoids the oxidation in your process, and you can add it. There are different types of antioxidants. They are normally based on ascorbic acid or metabisulfite.
Is it for shelf stability? Is that the...
Exactly. It's in order to improve the flavor stability of the beer. So, as you know, the main enemy of beer is oxygen. So, in most of the cases, in some cases, actually, micro-oxidation is good for age. Barrel beers.
If you're brewing a hop-forward New England IPA, an antioxidant could be a good product to be using.
Exactly. So, brewers who are dealing with New England IPA, so, as you said, like hop-forward beers, it's super important to keep the DO levels, the dissolved oxygen levels, the lowest as possible. Because when the beer aged, basically, the first thing you notice is that there is a loss of hop aroma and bitterness because the hop compounds are very sensitive to oxidation. So, so the idea is to, taking care of there is no oxidations from the very beginning of the process, in the entire process, So since from the mashing in until the final product. So it's valid also to use antioxidants,
What else do AEB offer?
Microfilters, as we talk about Danmill. It's a Danish company. Been working in the pharma, in the pharmaceutical industry, so they have really high quality standards. And so you basically, the Danmill can offer to the brewers, filters for beer polishing, also for stereo filtration, and there's a wide range of different cartridges.
Huge range of not only the cartridge filters, but the housing and the whole...
And all the solutions, Danmill can customize any type of filter solutions for the brewers.
Yeah.
And AB also can offer dosing units.
Yeah.
In the case of the brewers, they want to, dealing with different flavoring ingredients.
Yeah.
And detergents as well. So it's as you can hear, it's it's massive the number of solutions that AB can offer to brewers. Yeah.
Really, the aim of this video is to highlight our new partnership with AB Brewing products. We're going to stock all the yeasts in bulk. We're going to stock some process aids depending on what we feel would be good for demand and readily available stock. But it's impossible for us to carry everything that they do in terms of volume, but certainly we can bring it in with an order, and we'll be ordering frequently. So if someone wants to add filters or specific enzymes, process aids, things that aren't a general stock item, it's very easy to add it to the future order. So the aim of this is to get an overview of what other ancillary services and products are available from AEB Brewing. That's a very brief overview from Andres of the AEB Brewing products. We have a lot of information on the Geterbrewed website. It's going to drop some links below so you can check out the products. And if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to get in touch. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy brewing.